Good afternoon. The speaker of this session, I believe many people in this community are very familiar with him. He's been to Taiwan multiple times. And Professor Alex Taek-Gwang Lee is currently full professor in the Department of British and American Studies, Cultural Studies at Kyung University. And he's also a founding director of the Center for Technology in the Humanities there, and he's a scholar of critical theory and cultural studies who has worked on the topics of critiques of Marxism and psychoanalysis. The title of his talk, I'm told I should just reduce my intro to just like a few words. The title of his paper today is The Neoliberal Infrastructure of AI, Platform, Capitalism and Digital Labor in the Age of Artificial Intelligence. Please join me in welcoming Professor Lee.
Thank you for coming, and I'm quite honored to be invited to this the Vanguard Summit. I really love this title. I'm really appreciate the invitation from Institute of Social and Humanities Study, and then the Sebastian, and then all attendants here. Okay, I'm gonna talk about as you've seen, neoliberal infrastructure of AI. Okay, at some point is quite related to the professor's the doctor's topic. But I wanna dive into that infrastructure. Why this kind of AI booming, or in other words, spring of AI was possible. I don't want to actually say that this AI development is very necessary process. It's very accidental, the emergence, after the pandemic. And then very accidental moments were there. And then if you actually, back then, the beginning of AI industry, you should actually pay attention to that. The war is a very tragic war, like a Second World War. Second World War is the very, in my opinion, monumental moment for today's in AI. All right, so okay, let's go start my talk. So artificial intelligence represents the pinnacle of a technological trajectory rooted in the scientific enlightenment vision. Because actually the original idea of AI, you can find that this original the idea of AI in the lots of the Renaissance intellectual, and in particular the Thomas Hobbes, actually Leviathan, and then the back then to the ancient in the Greece, you can see that in Plato's idea of Atlantis. Typically, actually, he tried to flesh out the kind of idea of a smart city, right? The Atlantis was, the actually smart city when Plato dreamed about the utopia as Atlantis. So you should know this one. Actually, this is the beginning of this artificial intelligence. That's why artificial intelligence is quite ambiguous, because it rooted in that idea. The very idea as such is rooted in enlightenment, in European enlightenment. Okay, actually China, and then the Persia, and then even Africa and the Latin America, they would have their own enlightenment, but the European enlightenment became dominant over the Earth because of their own very specific the perspective onto nature. What is that? Science, the scientific revolution. And then, so while historical movements have challenged the technological determinism and sought alternative paths of development, neoliberal globalization ascendance has transformed European Enlightenment abstract idea into concrete reality. The philosophical dreams of universal knowledge, rational decision-making, and human enhancement, once confined to utopian treatises, now manifest in algorithmic systems that permeate daily life. So it was originally actually what? Utopian idea shared by many, political group, And then actually this political group in those days, emerged against what is kind of ancien regime after the French Revolution. And then they believed the power of science. And then they believed that the European, the political group believed that this science would, bring us, that means bring European, and in their own term might be a humanity, the what is a perfect world, okay, or some better world, and yet we must actually register viewing, the AI's emergence as an inevitable culmination of scientific progress. Rather, its development reflects specific economic, political, and social choices made within our globalized society. Now, actually, that kind of utopian idea turn into the part of this global capitalism. That is, in my opinion, the main issue we should actually dig in, whereas we should actually negotiate, because Hegel's thought, even Immanuel Kant's thought is that automatization would liberate people, liberate the human from that kind of the very terrible labor. Is Hegel's thought actually the machine would liberate workers from that kind of hard work. But actually the Karl Marx in the 19th century, he actually wrote in the Capital, and then he he was inspired by the Charles Babbage a lot. When he wrote that chapter is a machinery, okay, the Marx criticized Hegel. Hegel's actually optimism of technology, and then Marx said the machine actually in 19th century could not liberate workers from the hard work. Why? Marx's answer is quite simple, because bourgeois does not want to bring in actually the machine. Then they do not want actually the introduce machine into factory for liberation of labor, but rather profit. I think that this logic is still working, because that is, in my opinion, the basic, fundamental, the logic of the technology in this kind of capitalist infrastructure. So this is actually my question, and then actually the main idea of my discussion. So the technology's unprecedented reach into human affairs, from decision-making process to creative expression, from social relationship to economic structures, raises a profound question about autonomy, equity, and the future of human agency. The challenges posed by AI are uniquely social in character, transcending purely technical concerns. Unlike a previous technological revolution that primarily transformed physical labor or industrial processes, AI reshapes the very fabric of human cognition, communication, and community. This deep entanglement with the social structure means that addressing AI's implication requires technical expertise and sophisticated understanding of human society, culture, and values. That's why we have lots of actually, the issue revolving around this AI, humanity and the social study, even management study, and then, in my opinion, the AI, the introduction of AI, actually, the change the higher education, the paradigm of higher education, and then actually this AI now, the LLM, or actually large language model, destroyed the very, actually the Foucault, emphasized, is the core, the mechanism of a liberal, actually the production of knowledge. What is that? That is utilitarianism. Utilitarianism, according to Michel Foucault, they rely on a peer review system. It's an expertise system, all right? But what AI is destroying at the moment is definitely that. It destroying is a peer review system as such. That means actually liberalism, as we known so far, very friendly to capitalism, but this capitalist development based on this AI now destroying liberalism as such. This is the meaning of neoliberalism, in my opinion. Neoliberalism was like that, They destroying a liberal, the criterion by taking on is a pure idea of liberalism. There's neoliberalism. This is very, the paradox of neoliberalism. This is a very, the perversion. You can see that. Neoliberalism is a paradox. They need actually a strong government to what? Destroy the government. Well, they need a regulation to what? Dismantle the regulation. This is a paradox, eternal return. So I think actually problem AI also actually, to repeat this kind of neoliberal idea and then paradox as well. So in Unfinished Nightmare, Christian Label and Pierre Dado present a compelling argument rather than weakening neoliberalism. Crises have strengthened and radicalized it. This observation resonates powerfully with the current AI revolution. While artificial intelligence is not directly driving neoliberalism's resurgence, the dominant narratives surrounding AI, particularly those concerning labor displacement and economic transformation, are inadvertently accelerating neoliberal ideologies' radicalization. So actually, we wouldn't say, the AI is not a neoliberal, but actually today's, the AI industry seem to what? Seem to enhance or some revived neoliberalism. I try to explain why. So to grasp this dynamic pulley, we must differentiate between AI's theoretical foundation and its current manifestation within capitalist structure. At its core, AI technology embodies Enlightenment ideas of human emancipation and expanded freedom through rational progress. This emancipatory potential was recognized across the political spectrum during the early development of cybernetics after the Second World War. Even in the Soviet Union, following Stalin's initial hostility, scientists pursued cybernetic research, viewing it as a pathway toward the communist ideas of liberating human labor. Before, and not many people know this one. Actually, a lot of people believe that Steve Jobs invented the personal computer. No, it's a Soviet scientist that invented the personal computer, and they made the huge factory, computer factory in 1970, Bulgaria. All right. So, however, today's AI development isn't occurring in a neutral space of pure scientific inquiry. This is a problem. In my opinion, this utopian idea, which actually shaped early version of cybernetic, in my opinion, kidnapped by capitalism. All right? This is the reason why. Why AI industry is what? Is a reviving, helped reviving neoliberalism. Because neoliberalism actually, as you've seen in what happened in the terms of Trumpism in America, what? Based on revenge, or based on resistance, based on what? Is the hatred toward some poor people and immigrants, and then the femininity, the feminism and the communism, actually everything is what could be wrapped up in terms of neoliberalism. And then neoliberalism promise is quite simple: freedom, more freedom. You can enjoy more freedom if you actually erased this dirty thing like feminism, like immigrants, like actually the communism. If you removed this one, you can actually gain the more freedom. That is actually neoliberal propaganda. So in 2023, the American online publication Information published an article about Amazon Just Workout. This is actually one you can see. This is Just Workout. So an ambitious AI-powered unmanned, the automated checkout system. All right, this is Just Workout. This innovative technology allows customers to enter a store, scan an app upon entry, pick up their desired items, and leave without having to wait in line at the checkout. The checkout process itself is a novelty that relies on cameras and sensors installed throughout the store to track customers' purchases and charge them separately. It's automatization, of the consumption. And according to Amazon, the Just Workout system represents breakthrough in artificial intelligence automatization, addressing the ethical concerns surrounding traditional big data-based techniques of a biometric data collection. A lot of liberal critique of the Chinese, actually the collecting of big data. Think about that. Actually, during a pandemic, actually liberal, the journalism criticized, China from this perspective. They actually they are stealing. That means the government, the authoritarian government is stealing, individual data, something like that. And then Amazon tried to avoid this kind of suspicion, and then actually they made this kind of system. Instead, the system applies computer vision to machine learning algorithm, according to Amazon, enabling it to accurately track and identify customer purchases without the need for invasive biometric data collection. Very liberal solution, okay? Avoiding this kind of critique, collecting a biometric the biometric data. We are not actually like China, something like that. They try to say. But the just workout technology leverages advanced computer vision algorithm and the machine learning model to analyze video footage captures by the in-store cameras. That means they put lots of the camera inside the store. These algorithms are trained to recognize and track individual customers as they move through the store, as well as to identify specific items they picked up and purchases. By combining this visual data with information from the app scanned upon entry, the system can accurately associate with the customer with their chosen item and charge them accordingly, as I explained. One of the key advantages of the Just Workout system is its potential to enhance the customer experience by eliminating the need for traditional checkout processes. Customers can simply enter the store and select their items and leave without any unnecessary waiting or interaction with cashiers. This is what actually Amazon tried to advertise. By relying on the computer vision and machine learning rather than biometric data collection, the Just Workout system aims to address the ethical concerns that have plagued traditional big data-based approaches. Biometric data, such as a facial recognition or fingerprint scan, has been criticized for its potential to infringe upon individual privacy and enable invasive surveillance. In contrast, the Just Workout system focuses solely on tracking customer behavior and purchases within the confines of a store, minimizing the collection and use of sensitive personal data. The information exposed revealed that behind Amazon's seemingly automated Just Workout system, there were more than 1,000 Indian workers who were virtually invisible, known as the automated system. So that means actually this information, actually the report on this Just Workout revealed that, this fact. Behind this computer vision, that means this AI system, more than 1,000 Indian workers. So actually you said, Taiwanese actually contribute this kind of neoliberalization of AI. Anyway, just Indian people also, contribute their own labor power, to enhance this kind of system. So that made a big issue in America. Rather than the AI automatically recognizing buyer behavior, human workers behind the cameras were actually watching and judging the scenes. It's a very typical story, It actually this is secret of mechanical turk, right? So this revelation made waves, amplifying the negative perception of AI and damaging Amazon's image. In response, Amazon quickly pulled Just Workout from its stores and introduced Amazon Dash Carts as an alternative. Interestingly, while Amazon's action might suggest that new technology has replaced the problematic old system, that means they said, we cancel this system and then we're gonna, introduce the more, the revised one. But that is not entirely the case. In fact, the company's existing AI technology, which is based on computer vision, is still being applied to the new Amazon Dash Cart. They never changed. This is because actually computer vision is a basic, fundamental technology to actually support this kind of, the AI industry. They cannot actually, cancel it. Okay? So, This highlights a common misunderstanding surrounding computer vision, machine learning and the deep learning, which are the principle behind the generative AI. That means actually the information. This report criticized, just the workout only, but they didn't report, what's going on behind this, system. Is a computer vision. Computer vision is exactly the fundamental, element of today's AI system. And then, as actually previous speaker said, it's rely on what? Rely on the warfare. Is a warfare. Actually, that the camera on drone, all right? And then this computer vision invented by what? Is the Second World War, the bomb dropping. It was originally developed for what? Bombing the atomic, the weapon onto Japan. That was actually secret of this original computer vision. So it is important to note that this misunderstanding does not imply that Amazon is an evil big brother, or that it has no secret about its AI technology. For Amazon, this technology is a fundamental solution for the big tech industry to avoid the sensitive human rights issues surrounding biometric data collection. By relying on computer vision and the machine learning algorithm, Amazon aims to minimize the collection and use of personal biometric data, which has been a subject of concern and criticism. That's why they couldn't, give up this technology. However, it is crucial to acknowledge that while this technology may be in Amazon's favor, it could potentially lead to more serious problems if not properly implemented and regulated. The use of AI-powered systems like Just Workout and the Dashcart raises important questions about privacy, surveillance, and the potential for misuse or abuse of collected data. The controversy surrounding the information reporting can be seen as a symptom of a broader misunderstanding and misconception surrounding artificial intelligence technology. To address these concerns, it is essential for companies like Amazon to be transparent about their use of AI technology, including the specific data collected, how it is processed and stored, and the measures in place to protect user privacy. That means actually they try to pretend to show their transparency. We are quite transparent. We don't actually collect your private data. We simply collect data about your behavior, because everybody moves, Everybody moves. So we simply described what you are doing. We don't actually get in your side, something like that. So that is actually what they argue in terms of transparency. So this is what I mean. Actually, they try to be transparent. They try to be transparent. Actually, this is actually a big issue in my opinion. So, furthermore, the development of deployment of AI-powered systems should be subject to appropriate regulation and oversight to ensure that they are used responsibly and ethically. This may involve establishment of industry standards, guidelines, and best practices, as well as involvement of diverse stakeholders, including policymakers, researchers, and civil society organizations. Even civil society organizations, they talk about ethical use of AI, something like that. I think this is a total system. Total system. That means that this AI industry made its own sphere, which has no outside. Do you know what I mean? This is actually the problem, in my opinion. It's really kind of a total word, all right? So, okay, just after the 4 months after the story about the Amazon Just Workout system broke, the company published a detailed post on their public relations blog. Even, Amazon has their own blog. I want to reveal our own information. We don't have any secret. Please come to our blog and read our, the explanation. It's about. And then actually, this actually the blog's name is About Amazon. And then actually somebody called Amazon employee wrote this, the explanation in their blog. The post explained how the Just Workout system trains its AI using computer vision to pattern customer behavior in stores without the need to collect private biometric information. So they explained how actually this computer vision works to collect the customer's data on their own blog. They try to teach, all right? They try to teach the actual people. The system then synthesizes this patterned image to create a photorealistic set, which is a part of the learning or training process of the artificial intelligence known as machine learning. Okay, this idea is created by Alan Turing. As Alan Turing said, we cannot actually make the adult AI, but we can make some baby AI. And then when actually we make this baby AI, we can let them learn the how to think. That is Alan Turing's side. But of course, his idea was not actually realized. But very idea is the machine can learn something like that. This idea as such is now very flourished in the AI industry. Two important terms in this context are computer vision and machine learning. Computer vision, that means in the Amazon blog, to actually the concept, very important concept, actually suggested by the explanation, computer vision and learning. That means actually what they said is what? The computer vision and the machine learning are technical term. It sounds what? Neutral. It's a technical term. You shouldn't engage. This explanation is what? Quite technical one. So it's quite neutral to any opinion. So you must accept this one. Otherwise, you're gonna be a what? It's a person behind the passion. Just like that. I think this is ideology in my opinion. So computer vision is a practice of extracting meaningful information from visual images and converting them into big data. It involves image processing and pattern recognition, representing pixels as two-dimensional vectors to manipulate and analyze images. This manipulation analysis constitutes a process of machine learning. Machine learning using computer vision is a way to overcome the challenges faced by symbolic AI. The focusing on how it works, we can say that generative AI with this approach has made a significant leap to a different level compared to the good old-fashioned AI, GoFi, based on cybernetic and information theory. That means actually that this computer vision is a new technology. Actually what? The transformed old, the AI into the new AI. The from in symbolic AI to what? Is connectionist AI. So what we have is AI quite different from what actually the precursor of AI technology dreamt about. What we have is a totally different one. Actually, in the symbolic AI, actually what? Is aims at creation of a thinking machine, like what Alan Turing dreamt about, or some the Robert Wiener, and then the John von Neumann, and they imagined this kind of thinking machine. But today's AI nothing to do with thinking. Nothing to do with thinking. It's actually emulating thinking, And then we should think for this AI, and then this AI would what? Emulate our thinking, totally different. That's why that is my theory of today's AI. That's why they need us. What does that mean? They need to transform us into what? Such a kind of being, adopting this kind of AI paradigm. They need us. This is like a circular, the module. And then they want us into this kind of cosmos, their own total sphere. All right? Like the Truman. Right? Is the movie. Actually, they want us to join this kind of mechanism. It's a closed system. Do you know what I mean? And then if you actually stay outside, that means you are gonna be a loser, or you're gonna be the primitive people. You're gonna be what? You can't actually earn your money, and then something like that. That is actually the ideology of AI. AI industry today created their own world. It's a kind of total world, and then actually what? They don't allow us existing outside of this system, because they need us. this is a new paradigm of AI. This is the meaning of connectionist AI. All right? All right. So I will go because I spent too much time. So this is what I say. AI development heavily dependent on the human labor, as we've seen in the Mechanical Turk case. That means just the workout case. And then quite symptomatically, the Amazon called this kind of division of global division of labor, which actually what sustaining their the big data system. Mechanical Turk. Mechanical Turk is a kind of fake chess machine. All right, invented by the Kempler, is a German guy, and then actually of course somebody in Amazon would read about the Benjamin's the article, on the concept of history. All right, on the concept of history Benjamin discussed that Mechanical Turk. So and then this is my point is that they need actually the human labor. All right, and then that's why they need outsourcing of a labor-intensive task to global south, because the labor power in global south is quite cheap, okay? But now it's a global north. Even the Taiwan and even actually Korea is quite labor power quite expensive. That's why they moved this actually the global division of labor to global south. In particular, this is Africa. Africa actually experienced the economic growth. Is almost 5% per year, all right? Actually, because of this AI industry, the global capitalism more and more enhanced because of AI. So, okay, just that I want to say. And then this is Digital Factory, and definitely it showed that this book is explained how this kind of some labor power, cheap labor power, is outsourced, into the global south. Okay, Digital Factory. One of the most ambitious attempts to realize cybernetic utopianism, actually, which was quite different from today's, the AI industry, emerged in Chile under Salvador Allende's government. From 1971 to 1973, Chile pioneered the cyber scene, a revolutionary project that presaged today's internet and digital economic management system. That means they already had the idea of internet, in 1971. And then they also invented personal computer. That means actually the Soviet Union actually invented personal computer, and they built the factory in Bulgaria. So like this is a kind of imagine the picture of that the cyber scene. All right, is first the model of a smart city, okay, is this groundbreaking initiative born from the collaboration between British and Chilean engineers, so to harness early computer technology for democratic economic planning. It's a socialist project. That means cybernetic is used by socialists, first time. But actually the liberal and then bourgeois and the capitalist, they are not interested in cybernetic in those days. They are not interested in the AI. But now, situation seems quite opposite. Capitalism loves AI, all right? And then, actually, some leftists, seem actually reject AI or criticize AI. What happened? This is what I mean. So, in my opinion, that's why just AI, this utopian dream, is kidnapped by capitalism. We must take it back. Take this actual utopian idea of AI back to the actual people. This is my idea. So, this is a book about this one. Is Eden Medina. He wrote the actual book. And then, okay, just this is my almost close to conclusion. I don't have enough time. Sorry. And then, all right. So in this sense, we should criticize this fact is a neoliberalization of AI, all right? Criticize. Early internet vision is the free information exchange. Okay, think about that. And then lots of, some like Antonio Negri and Michael Hart, phrase the internet, As even, what is the digital Marxism is emerged, lots of, actually internet, the positivism was there, or optimism is there. The current reality dominated by big tech companies. all this kind of property, which was produced by this kind of so-called multitude, taken by these big tech companies. And the integration into US-centered economic system and reinforces the dollar dominance in global finance and strengthens the neoliberal market ideology. So that's why I love today's poster. This poster showed that how this AI industry working at the moment. Is that you must pay attention to that dollar in the pack. That dollar is centered, this actually AI system. So this is what I mean. Actually, the Tardo and Navar's book is a never-ending nightmare. They didn't actually analyze very closely on the rise of AI industry and the revival of the neoliberalism, because they wrote this book before the spring of AI industry. Anyway, but anyway, just what they try to analyze and then defend the argument, the liberalism didn't die and then it revived. Very useful to understand today's situation. So AI in the market forces, and then scientific curiosity, and then capitalist imperatives, and then but now actually the scientific curiosity is a little bit fading away, and then the capitalist imperative is quite strong, all right? And the AI confined to profit-driven application. Now, that means that this is meaning of my argument. AI was kidnapped by capitalism. So exacerbates labor and the wealth polarization and focused on the speculative risk, the vis-a-vis current impacts. The algorithm reinforces existing power structure. And then that's why actually against this kind of neoliberalization of AI, and then there might be some kind of discussion, called sovereign AI. In today's China. And I don't know actually whether Taiwan you have this kind of argument. I visited Malaysia 2 weeks ago, and then Singapore, and then Malaysia quite interested in this sovereign AI, but it's not, in my opinion, it's not a solution to this neoliberalization of AI. The reason I try to explain the reason, because actually this AI industry firmly founded on material foundation. Material foundation. This is my conclusion. So depend on the U.S.-controlled infrastructure. That means nothing changed. Nothing changed since the Second World War. And the critical role of undersea cable. Not many people actually mention this infrastructure. 95% of actually the cable owned by United States. And this actual cable is what? It's infrastructure of internet. You couldn't resist. You couldn't resist actually the U.S.-centered system because of this. If actually they cut, the cable, the underwater cable, what happened? Undersea cable, you couldn't use internet. That means you turn into primitive society. Very simple. You don't need. They don't need actually bomb your city. They simply cut, undersea cable, everywhere. Turn it like Korea. All bank system, all transportation system, all government system rely on internet. If you cut out this one, all society turn into chaos. Do you know what I mean? This is a real reality of actually the meaning of the neoliberalization AI industry. And the reinforcement of existing power structure. This is the only reason why Elon Musk support the Trump, and why this Peter Thiel talk about that we should invest the AI industry more and more. Why? They want to sustain this status quo. They wanted actually what? Is the keep on this kind of hierarchical order, which actually established since the Second World War. So I think actually this is actually reality, truth of AI industry. It's not AI technology as such, but this infrastructure is unequal. This infrastructure is problematic. And as you said, it's actually keep consuming the more energy, and then they try to exploiting global south. They don't allow the global south to use this kind of technology. This is still actually this inequality, and then this problem still goes on. Even though we actually talk about, and then there's lots of big tech company, AI would bring us in a better society, not for all people. Thank you very much.
there's a lot in your abstract that you actually didn't have time to go through. But maybe our questions or comments can actually give you time to just elaborate. I have one, perhaps, while we wait for your comments. So a really stupid, simple one, because I also sort of work on the question of neoliberalism, and I get asked this question: is this still a valid framework? Because in your abstract, actually, you didn't touch upon that in the talk today, but in your abstract, for example, you cite platform capitalism, and we know that there are also many other analytical frameworks available at this moment, either algorithmic governmentality or other forms of capitalism, or a combo of neoliberalism and fascism and so on and so forth. So do you think neoliberalism still works as an overarching framework? Do we have other questions or comments? Maybe we collect.
Yeah, so I respond to your question. It's a good question. It's nowadays is many people say that we're living in the post-neoliberal because people said in Trumpism actually symbolized that one, or some rise of fascism, rise of fascism in Europe. And then even the Southeastern Asia, I think sovereign AI to some point is reflecting that kind of sentiment against neoliberalism or against the globalization. But the neoliberalism didn't actually didn't work against the nationalism. The Korean case showed that nationalism always collaborate with this kind of liberalism. All right, for instance, Korean Democratic Party is quite simply actually they are my generation. They were communists, the socialists in 1980, and then they actually took neoliberalism after 1990, and they didn't find any contradictory actually the position there. So and then even they are quite strong nationalists, all right. So that means ideologically neoliberalism could come together with any kind of ideology. That's why actually you cannot actually the concern or discern which one is neoliberal, which one is not neoliberal. What I mean actually what kind of the structure would the sustain this kind of neoliberal ideology. In my opinion, is simply actually two material condition: globalization and the global capitalism, and then the financial system is a dollar-based, dollar-centered. That's why actually my point is that today's AI industry, I don't know actually whether the neoliberalism ever died or not. But anyway, where so now is a return of a mummy, I don't know. But actually this AI industry at some point helped reviving neoliberalism. Okay, they need global labor power. That means that they try to retain. Even actually Trump couldn't dismantle this system, in my opinion. So they need the AI industry desperately needs the actual cheap labor power in global South. And then they need energy too, all energy now is from the global South. And then they need actual material. There's many actually the resources, actually they keep exploiting Africa, and then actually that the mode never changed. In my opinion, that is one of the reasons. And then what's most important factor, I would say actually the neoliberalism is reviving by this kind of the AI industry, is that the more and more dollar centered, the monetary system is the enhanced. Think about that. When you use the Netflix, even the platform capitalism too. I think platform capitalism evolved because of the AI industry. It's just workout is automatization of this platform capitalism. They intended to actually the automatize this kind of process. So if you use the ChatGPT or any AI application, how can you use that kind of the application? You must pay subscription. They don't say actually pay. Actually, they said subscription. It sounds very nice. You subscribe this in esoteric club, But actually, the kind of consumption, right? You pay if you buy the certain commodity, you must pay. And what kind of money you use to pay it? Dollar, right? And then Apple increased their subscription fee. Last month, they didn't simply they actually announced it. We're gonna increase the subscription fee. If you don't want to actually use the Apple, okay, just quit. But I can't quit it because I'm still using actually Apple something. And lots of iCloud, and I must pay more $10 without any reason. They just announce it. This is, in my opinion, quite a neoliberal system. I cannot control them, but they can control me. By what? This kind of economic logic. That's what I mean, actually, the global capitalism and the dollar finance.
Thank you, Professor. So it sounds like the underlying theme besides neoliberalism is the U.S. empire.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And so, which actually is kind of the underlying theme, sounds like. And you say it's the infrastructure, right? But it also sounds like if we strike at the king, we also die. Is that what you're saying? Like if we take down the empire, let's say, we're so enmeshed with it that we also die?
No, actually, the empires rely on the Hegelian sense of master-slave dialectic, right? That means that they need us. They don't allow. That means actually America, doesn't allow us die. That is Foucault said. If you don't want to, you try to die, but they don't actually let you die. You don't have any right to kill yourself. That is what is. That is a human rights issue. Okay, it's like the. But actually, the people died. It's Gaza and many places. All right, but they don't care about because they are not human beings. If actually you might be called a human being, you must be in the part of this system. Otherwise, they kill. That is genocide. That's the meaning of genocide. They actually keep producing. For instance, Taiwan. Okay, you try to be actually part of this world system, all right? Otherwise, you are nothing. But if actually China have a good relationship with the United States, and then they would actually define you, certain the Taiwanese, like Gaza, what happened? Nobody would protect you. This is actually the tragedy and tragic truth of a global system. That's why you are actually desperately to be this part of this world. But that is ideology, in my opinion. This is ideology. And we must attack this one. I don't say actually that we should reject the technology. Technology would bring us better society. That's true. There's enlightenment. I don't want to actually say that we should give up enlightenment. We should practice enlightenment in our own way, not European way. We should actually, that is a kind of Dongdo-segi, is actually Chinese intellectual, modern Chinese intellectual had this kind of dream, all right? Bring actually using Western technology to actually achieve the Asian or Oriental ideal. I think that is truth. Okay, you should practice this technology in your own way, not this kind of capitalist way. And that is, in my opinion, is our goal. We must do that. And that is, in my opinion, resistance. We should take back our right to live. All right, that is kind of a technology too. That is the reason why we must invent our own purpose of technology, not the following this kind of global system one.
Let's continue the conversation in the roundtable. I'm afraid we need to wrap this session. Let's thank the speaker again.
Thank you very much.